Welcome, and thank you for viewing this conceptual development planning video for 11 Point State Park. 11 Point State Park is located 15 miles southeast of Alton. It was acquired in 2016 with natural resource damage funds as a result of monetary damages recovered by Missouri DNR. The park contains 4,167 acres of broad, open plains and steeply dissected river hills along 5.5 miles of the 11 Point River. The 11 Point River was one of 8 rivers originally designated by Congress in the Wild and Scenic Rivers Act of 1968. Approximately 625 acres of the park are protected by the Wild and Scenic River easement and managed by the U.S. Forestry Service. The park's current status is closed to the public, but we will be hosting a solar eclipse and CDP open house April 8th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And now let's take a look at some park highlights for 11 Point State Park. Prior to Euro-Americans settling in the area, the Southern Ozarks were considered territory of the Osage, Quapaw, and their ancestors. Nearby archaeological sites suggest use of this landscape as far back as 10,000 BC. Settlers began homesteading this region as early as 1808, with local land patents sold largely between 1859 and 1908. Today, remnants of late 1800, early 1900 structures can be found within the park's boundary, as well as a small, historic cemetery. Before becoming a state park, the known modern human history of the property has been primarily economic. Agriculture was the long-term prevailing use, largely grazing lands for cattle and other livestock, and hay production, especially in the river bottoms. The historic Giraffe Stone House located on site was a brief respite for the British rock group The Beatles in the midst of their 1965-1966 U.S. tour. Today, the property is comprised of oak hickory woodlands and oak pine forest of varying age and degree, a mix of upland and bottomland grazing hay pastures possessing a savanna-like arrangement of mature post oaks and Spanish oaks, and minor components of mature bottomland forest and woodlands along the river. A dozen tributary hollows seasonally carry water to the 11 Point River and Frederick Creek. Other natural features located within the park include glades, seeps, fens, and 2 permanent springs. We are currently creating the Conceptual Development Plan, or CDP, for 11 Point State Park. Conceptual development plans guide the future use and development at each state park and state historic site. These are long-range plans with a 15-year outlook. They outline area use, or zoning, site goals, development objectives, research needs, and project phasing. They take into consideration the significant natural, cultural, and recreational resources. They also take into consideration public input. Currently, we are seeking public input through our second online survey as well as hosting a public meeting. Before we dive into the proposed development, let's take a look at the park's mission. The mission of 11 Point State Park is to provide resource stewardship that preserves and restores the oak-pine woodlands, bottomland forest, glades, prairies, and savannas, benefits the surface and groundwater recharge areas of the 11 Point River, provides additional protection and restoration for the Wild and Scenic River easement, protects cultural resources, and provides compatible outdoor recreation and interpretation opportunities that will enable the appreciation of the park's resources. Here you can see a map of 11 Point State Park, highlighting proposed developments for the park. The proposed development is what we're seeking public input on. Our first development is located here inside this zoomed-in box, and it's to rehabilitate the Rock House. It could potentially be used for lodging to accommodate up to 10 to 12 guests. Number 2, improve the bunkhouse. It could house large groups, as well as seasonal workers and AmeriCorps. Number 3, rehabilitate the Big Barn. The Big Barn could be a reservable event space. Think about the Weston Bend State Park Bee Creek Shelter. It could include enclosed kitchens, restrooms, and event seating. And it could also feature a semi-open space. Number 4, develop an ADA trail. This trail could end at a scenic vista, feature a shade shelter at the terminus, and could transition to a natural surface trail. Number 5, expand and stock pond. This pond would be dependent upon soils and a water source. Number 6, develop the North Day Use area. This could include a trailhead, vault toilet, picnic tables, and some other minimal development. Number 7. Construct hiking trails. These trails would run throughout the park, they would avoid the scenic easement, and there would be 3 designated backpack campsites. Number 8. Construct an administration residence. The location of this residence is to be determined. Number 9. Preserve and/or rehabilitate structures. This would be done for their cultural, interpretive, operational, and recreational values. The remaining structures would be considered for demolition for public safety and operational concerns. Prior research, evaluation, and documentation will be sought. Number 10. Repurpose cabin. This cabin would be relocated and rehabilitated to serve as an office and contact station. Number 11. Develop camping and lodging area. This camping area would be 30 to 35 campsites, have electric and/or full hookup, flush restroom and shower house, and camper cabins. Number 12. Construct leisure bike trail. Now, this bike trail would be similar to the trail at St. Joe State Park. It would run throughout the day use area and the camping area. And finally, number 13, develop a south day use area. This could feature picnic tables, a shelter, flush restroom, playground, trailhead, level 2 EV charging station, and maybe some other development. Again, we are seeking input and want to know if you like or dislike the proposed development for this state park. If you visit mostateparks.com/CDP, you will see survey number 2 for 11 Point State Park. Please click that link to take the survey. If you happen to have any CDP-related questions, feel free to contact Ryan Dunwoody. He is the Planning Section Chief, and his phone number and email is listed there. Or you could contact me, Daniel Engler. I am a planner with Missouri State Parks. My email and phone number is listed as well. If you have any questions about the park, you can contact the Superintendent, Nick Cromry. His phone number and email is listed on the screen as well. For all other questions or comments, please send them to moparks@dnr.mo.gov. Lastly, thanks to the citizens of Missouri, our state parks and historic sites are supported by 0.5% of the Parks, Soils, and Waters sales tax. This sales tax allows free access to Missouri's 93 state parks and historic sites. Remember, you're always welcome in Missouri State Parks.